Hi there, welcome to lesson 2, and in this one we're going to start producing the site plan. And as I've mentioned, we're going to split all of the drawings over 2 lessons: site plan, floor plan, sections, elevations. We'll split them over 2 lessons just to keep it nice and as bite-sized as possible. And the first of each of the lessons is about the lines, the line work, the walls, the doors, all that sort of stuff. With the site plan, it's predominantly line work. Then the second of each is where we then add colour, hatching, shadows, all that sort of stuff. So when you've logged in and you've created your account and all that sort of stuff, you're met with this window, your workspace. And to create a new project or a new set of drawings, you just hit new model up here. And there we are. You've got this option for tutorials and that sort of stuff. Happy days. Remember to change your length unit to your desired metric. Mine is millimeters, right? And then the very first thing we're going to do is import our drawing that we're working to. And here we're going to import the site plan. Now I'm importing images here. You can import DWGs, what are we talking here? You can import other Rayon files, which is good. Images, CAD drawings, and PDFs, absolutely perfect. You don't need anything else when you're drawing in 2D. But we're going to work with images. The importing of others, we may get to that at another point. But we're working with images. And just if you're curious as to what do I do if I'm starting from scratch? Well, if you're starting from scratch, you might be drawing it by hand, and then you can scan that in and then bring that in and then tidy up in Rayon. So this still applies, this process. Or you might have a CAD map, like an OS map or a topographic survey. It's the same sort of process. You go to the import area and you just pick the file format. You drop it in, and then in the case of CAD, you'll have line work that you can play with and modify and all that sort of stuff, which we will get into. But in this case, we're going to trace over it, which, as I say, is more applicable to if you bring in sketches in and all that sort of stuff. So the first things first that we want to do is we want to scale this up. And that is in feet. I wonder whether, if we go length, feet for now, and then let's go scale down here, and it uses a 3-point system. So we click the first, you click the second, and if I just then go 8 feet, I think that's about 2.5 meters. If I go millimeter now and go back to that, there we are. That's good. I actually didn't have that one prepared. Alternatively, just use an online converter. Just Google it. Just Google 8 feet in millimeters. But I know that is about right. Okay. And then the very first thing to do is a little labor intensive, but it's tracing over the line work. Now, the great thing about Rayon is you don't need to think about all your layers and your line weights, all that sort of stuff straight away. And this is how I like to work. I like to work where I want to get the skeleton in as quickly as possible, and then refine afterwards. Other people like to sort of get it right first time and do it as they go, and that's completely personal preference. But for me, I like to just get it all in and then work back from that point. So that's the road there. I'm making sure that I'm using polyline as well, by the way, because we want it all connected, really. Then we've got our contours. It doesn't have to be too precise for this exercise. We're just learning the program and a little bit of general technique, and I will drop in a few little planning hints as well. And since I've brought that up, the reason why I'm going to emphasize that a drawing should be beautiful in this course is that when it comes to a planning application, a really nice, well textured, well shaded drawing just makes it clear, and clarity in the planning process will just speed everything up. I also am a believer, this isn't fact, this is anecdotal, but I'm also a believer that the better the quality of your drawings, the more serious it appears that you're taking it. And I've, in my experience, when I've presented a project in a very serious way, I'm taking it as seriously as possible. The drawings are good, lots of visuals, lots of analysis, and lots of stuff. The planners generally give you a bit of an easier time because they can see that you're very serious about what you're doing. So there's a couple of contours. I will speed up the video in a moment to deal with them all because I don't want to bore you to death. But then the other thing I want to cover, or the other couple of things I want to cover, are when it comes to the property. Now, another thing to consider here as well is, you could argue that we're doing this the wrong way around, in the you want to really draw the building first. You want to understand its position on the site and all that sort of stuff. But in terms of this roof plan here, you probably want to draw the floor plans first in detail, and then you use them to guide the roof plan. So I'm aware of that, but again, we're not being too precious on accuracy for like construction. We're talking about the plan and drawings and learning the software, of course. So for this exercise, and the reason I've done this first is because I wanted to focus more on the line drawing tools initially, then we'll get more into walls and so on. So for this, it's actually quite quick to just use the square, or rectangle, and the shortcut for that is RE. Nice. So we'll just get these blocks laid on because we can trim and all that sort of stuff later down the line. That'll do for that. Let's then maybe move into normal line work. I was just hovering over it then to see what the shortcut was. So it's PL. Hit escape to exit the polyline creation, by the way. You can see that already, like how quick that is shaping up. So that's the line work. It is that simple, really. I did quite like the grid actually, didn't I, last time? Let's yeah, that's nice. Okay. But I don't want to snap to it. Preferences, snapping, just turn grid off there. Okay, so you've got the basics there of line work. Let's also explore a couple of these others. So I love this curve one. We can get quite nice organic shapes like that. Or you've then got arc. So we'll just sort of show off these different tools. Like so. And then just a nice straight line connecting it to the building. So simple, so intuitive. So there's straight lines in terms of tracing it. You've got polylines, you've got single lines. We've used the rectangle shape to just, flesh it in, very quickly. But a massive advantage of Rayon is the inbuilt block library. And one thing that makes site plans look amazing are really good trees. And there's absolutely loads to choose from. So I'm going to just bring some in. And then let's do fair tree. Right. If we just drag one of the handles, it scales it up proportionally, which I quite like. Where's our rotate? That's RR. Okay. And then what we can do, let's scale it up a little bit more. What we can then do is copy these about, like so. Notice the way it sits over the line work automatically. That is fantastic. Now I'll rotate some of these afterwards. I'm just dotting them around. So that's that one, isn't it? Yeah, that's CC for copy, by the way. Like so, you get the idea. And I like that we've got the rotation slider there as well. Yeah. Let's just scale that one up. Nice. Like so. And then what I like to do is just start giving some of these random rotations. Let's just do so we'll copy 50. Just so it's not too rigid. Like so. As I say, in the next lesson, we'll deal with the style and the weights and all that sort of stuff. This one is about getting the drawing in. Another one I quite like. It's not on the what do you call it? It's not on the example underneath, but I quite like dropping people on. Gives a real sense of scale. What was it? RR. There we go. The car does the same sort of thing. Look at that. How quick we arrived at that. So let me just do a little sped up segment of the video to just finish the contours and a little bit more detail on the property, and then we'll just have some closing remarks, closing tips. Now, to interrupt the sped up bit, I've hit a bit of a wall where the trees now are covering the building, and I need to see it to obviously finish off the drawing of the roof plan. So what we want to do is go to our layers panel over here, create new layer, just double click, trees. And what we can do is right click, select similar. Let's try type. There we go. So that's included those, the people in the car, but I don't mind that actually. So let's call it blocks. We might subdivide it a little further. So you got the same block. We could subdivide it like that. But let's go type. And then layer, blocks. And then we just need to make default our default layer so we can turn blocks off. There we go. And we're nice and free now to draw the rest of the building. Also, you may have noticed this ordering of the layers here is how it sits as well in terms of priority. So if we put that at the top, all those blocks or whatever's in that layer will sit at the top as well. So that's just the order of things. Right, so just like that, we're away. Full site plan in, I mean, about half an hour, something like that. Something I mean to mention as well, I've made myself aware that my face was in the way of this thing over here. So at the start of the lesson, I was reminding you to check your length units and area units. So now that you can see the thing, length units, and then you've got mil, centimeters, meters, inches, feet, so on, and then area. So in the UK, architects generally work to millimeters and square meters. Just also to get that in before the lesson's over. And then just a last little bit of housekeeping before we finish as well. So let's create a new layer, and that wants to be our contours. Hold shift as you're selecting. Like so. And they want to be on contours. And then see the way they're coming through the trees now. So if we drop that below blocks, you then get that right level of priority. What's nice about having them on layers, other than the obvious of being able to turn stuff on and off, you're able to select things by layer as well, which is rapid. And then in here, what I would like to do is actually soften the color of the contours, because you don't want them to be too prominent. Like so. Look at that. And we'll get into more of that in the next lesson as well. A little teaser for you there. And then I think a couple of last little bits wants to be text. So let's just copy this text. AutoCAD main house, guest house, outdoor, kitchen, pool, vegetable garden. Let's check that. That is obviously far too small. We want it to be bigger than that. Oh, there we go. So let's just, I'm not going to obsess over the formatting just yet. But I want a good size. Double click to edit, and I like to just call that an element key. Let's do caps. So we've got that available to us. Okay. And then we want to, where are we? We then want, I like the way that's remembered that my last text size, that's good. So we can change font there. That's the length of the units as well. So then let's dot that around. So we've got one there, and then let's just copy. So we've got that. And I've noticed that I've missed that thickness off there. I'll actually just show you the offset tool now. Same there as well. But the reason I picked up on that was we'll continue to add detail with just the image off to the side. I'll just put 4 there for now. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that is 4. That's enter, sorry. There we go. Four, 3, 6. That's 6. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So just worth noting that you can pop your key off to the side, and then we'll use the paper canvas to bring in the key where we need it and all that sort of stuff. And then I think we do have, not my block, sorry, library. Some nice north arrows, there we are. I prefer the simple one. Where's that gone? That just come in tiny. So sorry, yeah, it had come in tiny. 12 mil there. So just set that to 3,500, then there it is. Let's then match that. Rotate, RR, like so. And then scale bar we'll do when we're putting it on sheets. But we've got our key, we've got our north arrow. Oh, sorry, let's offset. So you select, hit enter, and then you offset the distance by, let's just say 300. And there we are. Offset, 300. Oh, enter again. Oh, I've done that with that one, didn't I? Enter, 300, enter, and then enter again. So yeah, the first enter is just confirming that it's the distance, and then enter again is just executing the thing. Let's also just trim, select elements of trim, this thing here, enter. I've got the wrong end of the stick there. So we want to use that as the trimming device. Different CAD programs treat trim in different ways. So that's the elements to trim to, done. And then what do we want to trim those to? Lovely stuff, look at that. I don't know what all that is. Must have just copied a few things up by accident. So again, offset, but I'll leave that for the next lesson, after that final bit of finessing. And there's things like opacity and stuff like that we need to play with, just so we can, you know, see the building more clearly. And then we'll start adding a little bit of colour and some nice hatches as well. But that is lesson 2, and that is importing the site plan and then tracing over it, you know, drawing it up properly in CAD, in Rayon. And we are ready then to turn this into a beautiful site plan that's then ready for a formal issue. So I'll see you in the next one.